Level entertainment for you right now, right here on the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Rachel Mina, Lisa Berry, Kim Rhodes, Samantha Smith, and Briana Buckmaster.
Good song choice.
Yeah.
I want to see you guys.
It is a highway to hell, motherfuckers.
Thank you.
Spill coffee on myself.
I got it. Thank you.
All right, ladies, the stage is yours.
Peace out.
Vancouver. Have at it.
Love you.
Good morning. Or good morning, we say in Canada.
I'm just gonna totally upstage everybody. Do you want water? Sure. Here's my ass. Good morning. Woo! Do you want water? You're welcome.
Jeez, Gabe.
You go with me.
Thanks, Gabe.
And for me. That's all I got.
Next headshot that she submits for her next audition.
Or is it panel over?
I'm good.
Hi, ladies.
Hello, welcome.
You're all remarking how we kind of all dressed alike today.
We all got the memo. Black, black, black,
All
black.
always wear black.
And we matched our hairdo as well.
Yep. This is my third cup of coffee.
But they're so wee.
They're just little. I like to drink coffee until my adrenals can pop out of my body, go get groceries for me, and come back and go with nap time. That's how I like to live my life.
Makes sense.
Wake up! Oh, aggressive is here.
I'm awake now.
All right, okay. Shall we?
Yes.
Let's do this.
Where?
Do
Over
it.
there?
Get our one lone, get funky with it. Let's get weird. Let's get weird this morning, guys.
One brave soul over there.
I loved every single one of you.
But?
the question is for Briana and Kim.
Everybody might answer, I don't know.
Without giving away any secrets, Ellen and Joe went out in a very spectacular way.
Mhm.
Do you guys see Donna and Jody going out the same way, or are you guys going to keep the fight going?
Wait, I killed Ellen and Joe.
I know.
Well done.
That's like, thanks.
So I think that means you're hero.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't it be great if you took out Jody and Donna as well?
That would be awesome.
I would love that.
That'd be fun.
Listen, we've said this
Sure.
before. We have no say in what happens to our characters. In a dream scenario, I've said this before, I would love to have just the most epic death. Because why the fuck not at this point?
Sure, because I can tell you from experience.
I mean, yes, I am sure. I'd be fine with that. What? I'd be fine with that. I really would. But it'd have to be epic. Like, I'm talking 12 episode arc. I don't want any of
The
this
slowest
bathtub
death.
business. Yeah, but I have no idea. Zero idea. I haven't even I've been very calm, collected, and cool. I haven't attempted to contact any of my friends that are, in the writer's room, talk to any of the producers who I know I can ask, Jared Jensen. I could peg people and go, heard anything? Do you know anything? And I just haven't asked because I don't feel like I need to know. If I'm in it, amazing. If I'm not, I'm a very happy lady.
Oh, now you take the bunny head off. Sure. Yeah, now you take the bunny head off. Donnie Darko's here and no one noticed this. Guys, this is not going to be a good day for
It's just in your
me.
head.
Does anyone else see that? Please tell me someone else sees that.
There he is.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Well done.
Morning.
Hi. Not to hashtag expose anyone who hasn't listened into it, but what is everyone's favorite song off of Briana's album?
I'm turning inside out with embarrassment right now.
I love Olive Branch. Just because it's too early in the morning to do this. Hi guys.
That's a new record.
Is it? That's fast. Fuck you. Shut up, I'm fine. I know the story behind it, and I know her heart, and I just fucking love Olive Branch. Shut up. Fuck off.
That's a beautiful one. I also love when you and Jason sing together. So like, Have a Little Faith in Me, right? That's a duet, and so your voices sound beautiful together as well.
Thank
But
you.
I literally could listen to you sing absolutely anything, and I'd be happy.
Can I get the alphabet, Briana?
What?
Can I get the alphabet? Like, this is your Sesame Street moment.
Hear the alphabet?
Yeah. Sing the alphabet. India already did it. It's Sesame Street styles, yo.
The alphabet?
It's only because Rachel said I could listen to you sing anything, and then it made me think of when India already sang the alphabet, and then I was like, go for it, girl.
Do you know the alphabet?
Can I sing something different?
Go for it. I like it.
That was a one-time only, baby. If you need it, it is all the fuck over Twitter. Oh, no. Nobody wants to cry yet.
Shallow.
Baby Shark.
Well, there's a song Lisa and I had talked about singing.
It won't work. I look before I leap. I love margins and discipline. I make a list in my sleep, baby. What's my sin? Never quit. I follow through. I hate mess, but I love you. What to do with my impromptu, baby? But you gotta do it too.
Every single day I walk down the street, I hear people say, baby, so sweet. Ever since puberty, everybody stares at me. Boys, girls, I can't help it, baby. So be kind and don't lose your mind. Just remember that I'm your baby. Take me for what I am, who I was meant to be. And if you give a damn, take me, baby, or leave me. We did it!
We did it!
I've been talking about doing that for a year.
And that is our new alphabet.
Words to live by. Take me or leave me.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for that. I'm mortified. Hi over there.
Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
I was wondering what job got you guys your SAG card?
I still don't have my SAG card.
UBCP in Canada. So Lisa and I are Canadians. Yeah. And it's very tricky to get a SAG card if you're Canadian. But that union here is called ACTRA or UBCP in British Columbia. And mine was a bank commercial. CIBC Run for the Cure, which I got the job because they said I looked so Canadian. Literally, the client came up to me and she's like, oh, I think I went into the audition and there was no lines. It was just like, I think I was just hugging my mom or something in the commercial. I think I must have been 23. And they said, tell us a story. And I said, oh, my mom is I was living in Toronto. I said, my mom's in town. I took her out and got her drunk last night. And they said that I was the most Canadian person. So I thought that was funny.
That's a good one.
I started out doing commercials for 10 years before I ever had like a non-commercial acting job. Is my microphone broken again?
In and out. It's coming in and out.
Obviously it's me, because we
Sweet,
have to
sweet, like to
karaoke.
it, like this. There you
go.
Okay.
Eat the mic.
So I did commercials from the time I was 15, and my second commercial was the one I got my SAG card, and it was for Fanta soda. And they hired 5 of us girls, and each of us was a different flavor. So I was orange.
That's the best Fanta, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad it wasn't.
Fanta.
Well, there was purple, there was yellow, there was red, and I think
yellow.
lemon.
Somebody said pineapple.
Oh, maybe pineapple. It was 16 was a long time ago, guys. I remember I was orange. Orange dress, orange lipstick, orange earrings, orange shoes. Dancing around in Miami in the summer. I was like, but I'm getting my SAG card, so it's okay. That was mine.
You go through so much. It's like you go through theater school, you want to be an established actor, and they're like, can you just wear a bunny outfit and a diaper? and dance. And you're like,
It truly
this
is
is so not the
amazing.
Shakespeare I thought I was going to be doing when I got out of theater school.
Study for years.
You know, study for
Theater.
years. For me, mine was a commercial as well. And it's kind of cool because one of my best friends, her husband was working on the set because he's also an artistic director, and it was for the Quaker commercials, and it was when they first started doing the whole like, don't carry your weight around, and so they had a scale attached to your ankle was the whole commercial. And like you're walking and you have this scale, and everybody's scale was made of styrofoam, and mine was not. It was a real fucking scale. And it was like the heaviest thing I'd ever had, and it was like clicking, and I was like clicking and clicking. And they're like, can we just get a good walk? And I was just like, the scale is really heavy, so if you could, and they're like, why do you have a real scale? And it was like, I just thought it would be like, she should have the real, and I was like, give me the styrofoam. And it was like the first time I learned to like assert myself, and so I was like, no, if I can have the styrofoam one, then I will be okay. And then it took about 2 different takes of getting like that prop switched out, and then I was golden after that, and I was like, thank you for my union card. It was a good one.
I did a lot of extra work and things from when I was a few months old to when I was 8. And I actually really wanted it. Like I started talking at 8.5 months, and I started saying I wanted to be an actress right away. So it wasn't my parents forcing me to do it, but my father was a director, so he was directing. So I think when I was a few months old, I did some extra work then. And yeah, I kept pursuing. But I started trying to act. I really was begging my parents. They let me go on a few auditions when I was 2, but I didn't really understand it, and it broke their heart because like I got a callback and they put me on tape for a film. I thought I'd shot the film. So I kept asking my parents, when's my money coming out? And it was like they couldn't like find it in themselves to say like, you didn't actually do a money. So that was a bit of a bust. So then I waited again till I was 8 to full-time act, but I was doing extra work, and actually I had to have, like my agent had to have a serious talk with me because I was doing extra work and I started booking leads in film and TV, but I didn't want to stop doing the extra work. And to me, there was no difference. It was just really fun getting to be on a set. And they were like, no, you can't have a career and like keep doing extra work, and you shouldn't choose extra work over the lead role in a film. And I could not differentiate. I was like, I just want to be on set.
That story is very indicative of who you are as a person to this day. I'm happy, so it's good.
I'm around people, and they're cool.
Yeah, it's good.
I love that.
I don't remember what I had for dinner last night. So I can't answer your question, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you so much.
Hi guys.
Hi.
First of all, me and my sister have been listening to Kim and Briana's podcast, and I just want to say that we love it. But my question is for all of you: what advice would you give to people who are wanting to go into the film industry?
Don't. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
Wait, you're not the don't girl.
No, I'm not. Stop that. It's just such a great answer. Kim? Come on.
Why are you starting with me? Okay, yeah, all right, my advice, because there's a bunch of us up here and everybody's gonna say, so my quick bit is, find what you love. Don't wait for what you love to happen to you. Find it now, do it now, and then you will always be doing what you love. So that's the point. Skip the middleman. Skip people's yeses. Skip people's no's. Just find a way to be in your joy today, and you got it covered. And I think that applies to every industry, not just the film industry.
Kim, it's crazy because I was going to say exactly the same thing. So, yeah, and you said it more articulately as always. But yes, absolutely, just find what you love. Make sure you can give it to yourself. So that when you walk into a room, if you want to collaborate with someone, it is mutual. It's a decision made between the two of you. Do we collaborate well? Are we both inspired by each other? Cool, let's do that. That's very different from please approve of me. Find that approval beforehand, and put your art out in the world, and we'll be better for it. So thank you.
I am going to say the exact same thing, but also remember that the landscape of media is changing by the second. So what we know as the film and television industry kind of is no longer. You know that a bunch of film actors are doing television, a bunch of television actors are now doing short films. There's a new streaming service coming out just for short films. There's hundreds of different ways to be a television actor, and most of those these days is on streaming services, not on actual television. So there are so many ways to create. And that's what I like to think of myself as a creator. I love to entertain, I think that's my first love, but what brings me the most joy is creating anything. I'm constantly trying to do things that I don't know how to do because the actual creating of something is what brings me joy. And I think that that's what you're seeing happening right now in the landscape of television and film, is that people are tired of sitting by the phone and waiting for their agents or the producers or the studios or whatever to greenlight something. So they're just doing it on their own. So like Kim said, like Rachel said, is don't wait. If you want to create, create. There's literally nothing stopping you anymore. And it's very exciting.
And just to piggyback on that, my father taught at film school for a long time, and the thing that was most frustrating is the rules. There are no rules, and I'm always trying to impart that upon people. The people who make the rules of how filmmaking is done are those who break them. And what happens is someone breaks the rules because they're inspired and they say, this is how I need to make my film. And then that becomes, oh, you know how you make a successful film is follow this person and do it by, paint by those numbers. But actually the reason they were successful is because they were following their own artistic vision and going with that. So don't feel like whatever people are imparting of this is how you have to do it to be successful, that can be broken. That's a false rule. So.
Yay. Anything to add?
The only thing I would add to that, because I think those are such amazing answers, but I'm so a person who lives in, but what do I do literally right this second? And I think when you're getting into any creative industry especially, while being well-versed in your craft and following what you love and then really pursuing it and understanding it and going deeper with it, I think what's really important is that you take time aside from the creating to just believe in yourself. That work of being and I have a right to create this, there is a space for it, I am answering a call for it. The work to really remember that, the why, is so important, but it gets done last. It's as actors, it's I gotta learn my lines, and it's well, you actually also have to take time out to learn your lines and then to learn to feel confident, and confidence doesn't just come. You have to practice that, just like you practice your lines to get good at it. So my advice to anybody getting into the creative industry is to be have mental fortitude so that you can handle the pressures that are coming at you on a regular basis, because you're the only thing that's going to be supporting you and everything is going to be on top of that. And if you don't have the mental strength and stamina and drive to keep the machine running, it will all fall apart because they're like, even if you get a manager or an agent, you get a job, they're all relying on you to be able to handle it. And a lot of people crack under the pressure, and not just because of the work, but because at the same time, you're gonna be asked like, okay, I need your taxes this, I need your taxes that, I need your da-da-da-da, and if you haven't done your taxes or kept your books up to date, you will very quickly forget about the work and why you loved it, and you will go down a stream of, oh my God, I'm now having to deal with all this other stuff that nobody ever talks about, but is very necessary to know, which is like the business side of things and how that works. To just be an artist creating kind of puts you at a disadvantage because you need to also have so many other skills. And so my advice is, along what Briana was saying, was figure out what you need to learn so that you're able to do what you love to do without any interruptions or glitches along the way, because people are going to completely throw you under the bus. People are going to push you aside. People are going to tell you the most horrific things and try to get you to feel horrible about yourself, and you'll forget why you had that dream in the first place. And so once you've done all of the, I want to be an actor, I want to be a painter, I want to be a writer, I want to be a singer, whatever it is, remember to take a little bit of time aside each day to be like, and I'm worthy of this vision that has been placed in my heart. Thank you, God. Thank you, universe. Thank you.
What they said. So deep. Oh my God. I'm going to be like, okay, honey, you have to do the work. And this isn't just in performing arts or artistry in general. This is anything. Like, do your work. You have to learn. You have to, if you love it, you'll want to learn. And when you learn and you have the foundation, the other stuff comes naturally. And yeah, you have to do your taxes and you have to adult. Nobody likes it. We all have to do it. Whether you're a lawyer or a garbage man or an actor, you still have to pay your taxes. Or you go to jail.
Unless you're super rich.
Unless you're the president.
Yeah.
It's not over yet. I'm still just...
So yeah, do your home.
Oh my God, they turned our mics off for that.
Get them off stage. The women are telling the truth.
So yeah, you gotta... you have to be practical as well, but yeah, if you have this driving force of a dream, the other stuff you're like, well, I'm gonna wanna go do a local play. I'm gonna wanna read this play and watch this TV show and watch what to do, and by the way, what not to do. Watching bad television has taught me a lot. Like, oh yeah, never do that. And just focus. You just have to focus. Sitting, somebody was saying, you can't sit and wait. Kim, you said. And you can't. You have to move forward. And if you aren't a writer, find someone who is. Collaborate with your friends. Like, lawyers work in an office for a reason, all together. Like, actors work better in collaboration sometimes because you feed off each other.
Most actors.
Yeah. Ideally. Yes. Actually, it'd be weird if you were talking to yourself, wouldn't it? Yeah. It's still early. But yeah, so I'm a super practical person, and so whenever I'm feeling insecure or whatever, I'm like, I want to do something, so I work. And I work on my own, and I'll read something or watch something, and it helps you to move forward. But it's not just all like, I decided I'm going to be an actor, and somebody went, boom, here's a show. Like, that's not how it works. It can, but ideally you'll have done the work so that you can sustain the luck that you have walked into. Good luck.
I was, super quick story, saying what she was saying is when you see an artist, what we see an artist hitting it big, usually behind that is at least a decade of work. I was listening to an interview with my current inspo icon, Lizzo Beating, and everybody was talking about how she has just You know, she's the big hot new thing. She just came up from nowhere and she's like, I've been on tour since I was 9 years old. Like, she has been in the industry for so long. She took opera. She's obviously studied the flute. That's my point, is a lot of artists, when you see them and you take notice of them, behind that is decades of work. And so they're just reaching their own now. And if you keep working, I think eventually you'll get yours.
Perseverance, I guess, is the main, yeah.
And I think one thing too is that love, and I guess that's where we're coming from, where it started, is like, what can you do to hold true to that love despite all the rejection, despite, you know, the fighting and all that, and that's where we're coming from. But yeah, it's such a fallacy. I laugh when people say, oh, you were so lucky to get that job. And like, and you could probably, if you look at all those years of auditioning, you could probably pile this whole room up with scripts of all the parts I didn't get. So,
exactly, yeah.
It's true. So thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Cashmere.
My question is for Briana. So if Donna and Dean were on a road trip, where would they go and what would they do?
You are obsessed. What would Donna and Dean do? They would eat, for sure. They would probably sing some old rock and roll, and I bet they would argue. I just have a feeling they would argue over directions or something. Anybody else? Yeah, that's right. You keep your trap shut, you dirty little bitches. I know what you're all thinking. Rhodes scissor.
That's for Jody and Donna.
That's right. That's what I think. That's my final answer. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I believe at least one of you has some experience in tabletop role-playing games. If you don't, I apologize. If your characters decide to play a tabletop role-playing game, any one, what kind of characters do you think would make, or how would it go? How bad or how well would it go?
Rachel, can you answer for me?
Rachel, can you answer for me too?
Me too.
Wait, are you asking about our characters or us?
Both would be very fun answers, I'm sure.
No, pick one. Pick one. You gotta pick one.
Characters.
Characters.
It'd be a really strange, like, I don't think Meg would necessarily be particularly good at role playing. I don't know if she.
I think Meg and Jody would have the same reaction.
Yeah.
It's me. Meg's like, I'm already a fucking demon. What do you want from me? And Jody would say, I have a gun. What the fuck do you want from me?
But I think like us as people, like we'd have a lot of fun because basically role playing is like acting. And it'd be super fun, and I think we'd all get into like really geeked out characters. But I think our characters would have a lot of trouble with it. Like I look at all our characters.
I think it would be hilarious.
But none of them would have time. We're like busy. Like,
Yeah. Although death always has time. That should be like, I think I want to be a ranger just for fun. Elf. Death is like ready to branch out, explore her face side.
I've been dead. I think I want to be an elf today.
Love it. I think it is all role play for most of them. Like I feel like all these characters do kind of get like there's a little bit of wink wink. Like yeah, but we're playing our parts. So yeah, I don't know that they'd role play on top of the role play. I feel like Donna might. I feel like Donna might be. She might be a secret D&D player.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Donna'd be into that, you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think couldn't you see like her having those Friday night games or something?
Those winter nights in Minnesota are very long.
Do some chips.
Like, and she would definitely, like, she's an elf.
Wants a jalapeno popper. Okay. You do, I know you do. Okay.
Like, she wears the elf ears and all of it. Like,
I think you're right. I love that. All right, turn that in the bag.
Is that a good, decent enough answer?
Thank you.
I love how she was like, no, keep going. Oh, Rachel and her half-assed answers.
What did you roll for charisma? God damn it!
Oh, I love it. All right, hi.
Hey guys. So first of all, I just want to say I've told this to Kim yesterday, but I've actually talked with her for some seconds, for minutes, and she was like that she was saying that I, as a young woman or young, I'm so lucky to have you incredible women as role models and to have that growing up. So I just want to say thank you for that because it's absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
And my question is also kind of going deep. It is, if I don't know if you've had this experience, but if you feel an anger or a really deep emotion, and you're in a room full of people, or just with people, how do you deal with when you feel something that you're like, I'm gonna lash out? How do you deal with that? Or what tips would you have?
I want to answer that because it's not uncommon, and what I love is having honest dialogue. So especially for me, because I have physical things, I will feel something setting in where I'm like, I'm in such pain, I'm probably going to lash out at someone. Because you start to feel like it is the person causing the pain, and it's like, no, that's just my physical condition. But I love having a dialogue where I say to someone, if you sense something going on, you're not wrong. This is happening, but it's not about, like, I love you, you're awesome, and you're totally being helpful. If I lash out, I want to warn you why. And I think also with most of us, things that are going on, it has little to do with the other person, and it's good to have that dialogue. So like, when I was on the plane trip here, and we were stuck on the tarmac for 5 hours, there were people losing it at the poor flight attendants, that it was not their fault at all. But the circumstance dictated that it was really a miserable, people were hungry, babies were crying, there was like all these things going on that leads to those angry reactions. But I think it's so important to say, hey, to take that moment, I try to do this, I'm not mad at you, I'm really upset at the circumstance, and I do not like this. But that's not your fault. And does that help? Was that what you're talking about? Anyway.
Also, you can't pretend you're not feeling something. So if you're actually feeling it, honor it. And if you feel like you're going to lash out inappropriately, I will remove myself. I'll be like, I'm going to be right back. Because you can cover for a second. And then you go out and you do some breaths, and you have to take care of yourself. So if what you need to do is go home, then do that. If you need to take a minute and you're like, okay, I think I overreacted, I can hang, I'm good. Or if you have a trusted person, you can say, this just happened. It can be acknowledged, that blows, or maybe they didn't mean it, or how can I help? And then, at least to me, if I let the steam out for a second, you don't have to vent and scream and cry. You can just be like, I'm really upset about this happened. And at least now it's real. You're not just like going down the rabbit hole in your head. You're not making it any worse. You vocalized it, it's out, and then maybe you can decide then what you need better. But to deal with it just on your own is sometimes harder. And if you do, then you have to practice it. But honor yourself. Like don't pretend everything's fine if it's not. And if you have to go home, that's okay. And if people are like, where'd you go? You're like, I had to take care of myself. And I had to go. Yeah.
I first of all just wanted to say how much it means to me, and I think a lot of other women in this audience, to have strong female characters on the show that don't exist to be romantic interest for the boys. My question is, what is your favorite thing about your character?
Oh, I know for sure my favorite thing about Jodie is that she is deeply aware of how fucking painful love can be, and she still chooses to love.
I think my favorite thing about Donna is that she does not let her emotions affect her judgment. And when in last season before, when New Doug said that he couldn't be with her because she was a hunter, she said, sorry, bye. And I don't know that I could do that as Briana. I think that that's an immense strength in a woman to go, this is my calling, this is what I'm put on this planet to do, and I love you, but I have to be of service to this planet. And I think that's what I aim to do in my life as Briana, and I think that Donna is a huge inspiration for me for that.
I think I most admire Mary's bravery. Not just in the physical world, like, sure, I'll go kill a nest of vampires or punch the devil. But also doing things that she thinks are necessary, even though it's pretty certain there's going to be some backlash for it. But she's like, it's the right thing. I'm going to do it anyway. So there's just a fearlessness, or a fear in doing it anyway, that I aspire to in my life. And it's sometimes hard, and because Mary's written and not real, she has less of a hard time with it. But yeah, her bravery.
I would say what I love most about playing Death is when she is firm in her convictions, she makes herself like a tree and tells everybody else to move. And I kind of like that.
I love Meg's perspective. She's like unwavering in never losing sight of the bigger picture. So she's not fazed generally by whatever's going on in the immediate moment in that microcosm, or like even when she was being physically tortured and stuff, doesn't faze her. Because I think she's lived such a long time, there's that sense of, this is a small blip in the grand scheme. And that's where a lot of her humor comes from. Because it's very funny, like when the guys are really caught up in like the drama of the moment, and she's just like, this is gonna pass. That is a quality I've tried to bring into my life too, is to always remember, in the grand scheme, where this fits in. And I just want to acknowledge something. Thank you all for asking for these type of characters. And we would not be here if it wasn't for you.
For real, I really mean that too, because my character was only supposed to be in one episode. So truly it's because the fans were like, whoa, that's cool. That my character has been written back as many times as she has. So I'm so grateful for your love and support. It has been life-changing.
We were talking at the meet and greet about the fact that, as for the fandom too, you are my North Star, in that I am not always emotionally evolved as I'd like to be, but I do know intellectually enough of this is what we want to create for future generations, especially as a woman, that I still have ingrained in me a lot of very unhealthy attitudes and self-talk and all of these things. But I can say I don't want our daughters to have that. And so that is what I feel like we're all in agreement of like creating. And so because I know I'm coming to talk to you, I bring myself up and I grow constantly in order to give that to you and vice versa. And just thank you for that.
Thank you. Hi.
morning, you beautiful.
Oh,
wonderful-
you're such a flirt. And I love it.
And I'm going to totally wrap this up because this is not an emotional character question whatsoever. But I'm wondering, you appear in shows other than Supernatural.
What?
Not me.
And I was wondering, when you do the other actors and actresses ever ask you about your work in Supernatural or your work here in conventions and what that is like?
You know what's really cool is I did an arc on Criminal Minds. It was so much fun because they're all so funny and so lovely, and I was so awful, and I kept waiting for a house to be dropped on me. What is it?
It's a long hair that was like in your eye. I'll show it to you later.
I can't even. No. I have so many pets. I don't even notice unless it's actually up my nose or in my eye. But yes, Criminal Minds. They all wanted to know about conventions.
Yeah.
It wasn't even. It was like Supernatural. Yeah. Okay. That's sweet. That's cute. That's nice. You do what? What do they like? What are the fans like? What's it like? Because remember that, I mean, unless you come from stage, like, Sam, you had done stage, and Rachel, you haven't.
I've never
Is your
done a
background stage?
Rachel has,
Yeah, Rachel, so, right, there we go. All of my stories muddled together. I'm like, wait, but you did. Anyway, we're immediately responsible to our audience, right? Television, we don't ever, it's like this amorphous being that we're performing for, but we're not receiving feedback from. So we either go into our own heads or our own assumption of what you are. And conventions are when we get to complete the cycle of communication, where it comes back, where it finally cements into, what I do is tell a story so that you can receive the story, respond to the story, and come back. So it's two ways. Like you said, it would be very strange to be acting by myself. It's very strange to tell a story and not connect with the people that I'm telling the story to. So actors who don't do conventions are fascinated and terrified by the concept. Because on the one hand, it's like, you do what? You talk to them? What kind of questions do they ask? Do they ask about the character or about you? You tell them about you? And there's also this delight when I say, no, I love them. It is a beautiful symbiotic relationship. And that's what they want to hear. They want to hear, like, I could do that too. Whereas there used to be this, even when I started this, there was this idea that conventions were for actors that really honestly either didn't have any hope of ever working on screen again or just really wanted to get laid. And that was the idea of who did conventions. And now all actors, even if they don't admit it, really kind of want to do a convention because I want to be here with the people and connect. So I get a lot of questions about conventions. Nobody gives a fuck about me killing vampires. Sadly.
You know, I think our the little show that could, right? That just never stopped. I kind of joke, but it's true. So people ask what show I'm on. Because they're like, oh, what are you good? I'm on a show called Supernatural. And here are the two reactions. Or, is that the one with the two guys? Is that the one?
That's the one. Oh, I heard that. I've been meaning to watch it. I get a lot of that.
Right.
Oh, I'll start watching it. You're like, I don't give a fuck if you watch it. I get enough people watching it. I'm okay. So funny.
You know, so when I'm on other things, they're like, oh, that's cool. And they're like, you're their mom? Like, you know, so I'm like, yeah, it's good. And I'm like, more for us. So that's about as far as it goes. They're like, what else have you been on? And they're like, oh, Seinfeld? Oh, I'm like, that was 35 years ago. And they're like, oh, great. And then they walked away. So yeah, I don't get a lot of the questions.
I've been on shows where the actors on the show want to know, especially if they're new shows, want to know about the conventions because they want to have conventions for their shows. Because they see this beautiful machine that, you know, like Kim had said, that we've all kind of developed, this relationship, and they're like, how do I do that? And I'm just like, you can't.
You say that like you could, but it won't be like that.
And I'm always just like, I mean, you can rent a room at a hotel and see who shows up, but yeah, it's very funny. Usually, that happens all the time. No matter if it's a science fiction show or not, people are like, wonder if, because there is fan bases for every show, big and small, and every fan base deserves to be heard, but conventions are a very specific thing, and they're not easy to put on. This is the misconception about conventions, is that you do think you can rent a room and sell tickets and actors will show up. It's not like that. The people, especially people who run creation, they work really hard. All the people that you see taking us to the bathroom like we're 2-year-olds, they work very hard. All the people who volunteer here, hundreds of working cogs to put on an event like this. And we are immensely grateful to all those people who gives us jobs, give us an opportunity to meet you, and I know you guys are grateful as well. And so an event like this is nothing to put aside.
I just want to add in another incredible thing about this supernatural family is the charitable aspect to it. Like that, and that's something that obviously I'm such a true believer about. And so that when I even tried to reflect on the question, I was like, I don't know if people are interested. I know I tell them they should be. I never give them that option to not be interested. But so much of it is because you are a fandom that comes together and does so much good in the world. And that to me, and also it's not just the fandom, it's like everyone on the show and how much people are passionate about trying to create a better world and create good in the world and support each other. I've never seen a phenomenon like that, and I think that is unique to this show and this fandom, and I think we need to bring it to other fandoms, so yeah.
This fandom is lightning in the bottle, and I think that, I don't know, I mean, I wish there was a formula, because this is really special, like crazy special. And when people do hear about the fandom, they ask about it, and I'm like, magic. But it's true. It's true. But I think that it's the start, and it can spiderweb out to the other.
That's my hope. Let's teach the world.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello. I'm Lisa. So first off, I wanted to say that all of your characters have helped me get through so much in my life. Lisa, it's so empowering to see a woman of color on that show being in that position. And Sam, it's so good to see a woman have a life of her own aside from her kids. And Kim, Briana, and Rachel, your characters from the get-go show me how to go above every bad thing that life keeps throwing at me and grow stronger. So thank you so much for that. And my question is, was there ever a time in your career that you felt like this is not happening and I should give up?
Like 5 minutes ago? All the time. It's kind of part of our career.
Any second now.
Yeah. But if you're lucky, no, I take that back. I don't believe wholeheartedly in luck. If you are smart and you work on your practice, you teach yourself that a failure is a beginning. And a failure is not a final destination, just as success is not a final destination. A success is not something that lasts, and failure is not something that lasts. So if you can remember that and make that part of your practice and your career, then there are no highs and lows. There are only journeys. And that's the fucking best thing in the world. So enjoy that. So, fuck you guys!
We all have points where we think it's over. And hopefully, if you ever, it's because it was your choice. We always have choices. You can choose to wait and stick it out and keep pushing forward. You can pivot and turn and do something else. But that is the nature of the beast here. You know, my friend and I joke, she's an actress as well, and she's worked a ton. She's always on something. And when a job is over, you're like, oh, well, clearly I'm never going to work again. Every time. And then the next day or 4 months later or whatever, suddenly you have another job. You're like, oh, I didn't see this coming. And yet, if you look back over the 10 or 15 years that you've been working, it's a constant pattern that never breaks. So you just have to own that insecurity and just keep moving. You're like, yeah, oh, hi, there you are. I'm going to prove you wrong again. It's okay.
I'll tell you my trick for life in general is ground yourself in purpose. So then the form that things take doesn't matter as much, and you're not like tethered to that having significance for you. So for example, even if it's like I always wanted to have kids, I then reached a point in my life that my purpose might not be to have kids, but I will always, the actual purpose is I want to make the world better for generations in the future, and I want to care for a world so that they can grow up in a better environment and with a better future. And so that became my focus. And so it might look different. And it's the same with work. I want to connect with people. The whole point of connecting to a character and doing a show is so that I can connect to another human and tell that story to you, and we can connect. That might be me sitting on this stage and having this conversation. I don't know what form that's going to take, but I've learned to not be so attached to this. Oh, it's only if I get this job will I be able to fulfill my purpose. Like that, I don't know that. So.
Melissa Gilbert has a really great way of expressing it, because she's like, you're going to always have to have the certain shit sandwiches that you're going to have to eat in any business that you endeavor to go into. And so sometimes you're sitting down and having filet mignon, then when that dish of that shit sandwich shows up, you got to be like, okay, I got to eat that. All right. Going in. Just because that it's a part of the whole package of the process. So you just kind of eat it when you have to, and then hope that the next dish that comes by is, dessert.
At the very least, an amuse-bouche.
Thank you.
This is not a deep question, but I wanted to ask, other than Briana, who sang about hers yesterday, who were your childhood celebrity crushes?
You saying that just makes me want to hear that song.
No! No! You should sing it! Give her!
No, I didn't make songs, but that was so great. But I did do the Write My Name, and I was obsessed with Terminator 2, the Terminator movies. And when Terminator 2 came out, Eddie Furlong was just like my everything. I don't even know why, but he was my everything. And he was in Tiger Beats. And that was my big. So of course now I'm super excited for Terminator with Linda. But Eddie Furlong.
I feel like there was like a free-for-all of crushes, and I didn't really differentiate. So like, I at the same time, there's Big Bird.
That's okay, my first one was the mailman on Mr. Rogers. So shut the fuck up, don't judge. Is that a puppet? It was a badly wigged.
Next to Big Bird, I remember like Michael Jackson was like one of the next ones, and then this was going back to like Thriller days. And then Michael J. Fox was another, and then Rob Lowe got in there somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, it was just like any, and I would have like I think Jen in the Dark Crystal, which I'm excited about the new dinner. So yeah, I don't know. It was just like puppets. Men, women, I don't know. They were all in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw in there. I'm gonna see your Big Bird, and I'm gonna raise you a car, Kit.
Awesome.
Knight Rider.
Sam?
So the only fan letter I ever wrote was to Sean Cassidy. But the earliest screen crush I can remember was Powers Booth, which was weird because I think he was my dad's age. Do you know who Powers Booth is? Yeah. So you understand. Yeah. And then all of the Outsiders. So, yeah, a vast array of ages and types. But yeah, Powers Booth until and that.
But all human. We're confirming all human.
But yeah, the Powers Booth one never
Kim,
went away.
I
It was my screen crush my
yeah.
whole life. And I was actually physically like upset when he passed away. And I had never met him. I'd only ever seen him on TV. And I was like I knew him. I was really upset. I was also really young. He was like in his 60s. Anyway.
I remember being very upset, and not in a in a JTT kind of way, but I was in love and in awe of Chris Farley. And when he passed away, because I remember I was in high school and we had an exchange student living with us, and he came on TV. Something from SNL was on TV, and I went, oh my God, I love him so much. I'm going to be in a movie with him one day. And then I was like, Chris Farley passed away today. And I wept and wept and wept and wept, and I didn't understand, about addiction and things like that at that time. But I remember, having those feelings.
The addiction is real, that you have for the persona that you have attached to.
And sometimes the characters. Like I joked about the Rob Lowe was in there, but there was a film he did that was very small that no one will know, called Square Dance, and he played a boy who was like kind of slow, and he fell in love with this girl, and he didn't understand like dynamics of relationships or anything like that, and he was just totally in love, and I felt so sorry for that human. I cried, I think, for like months. And so I was determined that I was going to marry him and make it okay. Like that was my crush.
I want you to have a crush on me.
I do have a crush on you. Who wouldn't have a crush on you?
Thank you for your question. It was a great question.
Yeah, that was a hard pass.
Kim's back. How was the panel, ladies? How was it? I love when we have these super groups on here. It's a rare occasion to see all these great women delivering their messages of hope and filth to the good people of the cities we visit. Ladies and gentlemen, Rachel Miner, Lisa Berry, Samantha Smith, Briana Buckmaster, and Kimberly Rhodes. I'm on a way to hell. All five. Not four. Nope. Robbie, since we're in Canada, should we have to do everything in English and French? Oui. So, go ahead. In French, Rob Benedict singing the theme song to them. Right now, en français, bravo! Okay, yeah. Merci, oui! You settle down, maintenant.
What's hell?
The hell. I guess it's lel. I don't know. What is hell in en français? What?
It just proves my theory, never ask a full crowd any question. Because it's like you didn't answer.
How do I live?
You know? Hell in French.
L'enfer.
Pantalon.
L'enfer.
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 Je en 5 way You know who doesn't understand that? French people. Nobody would understand what the hell you just said. But I did, Robbie, because I speak Bob Lang, which is half Bob, half English, with a little bit of French. Shall we do the next person? Should we bring them up?